While the majority of the Republican Party is rejecting the results of the 2020 election, former National Security Advisor John Bolton has this message. He is calling on Republican leaders to tell the Trump supporters to accept reality. Here's his pitch.
Well, I think it's very important for leaders of the Republican Party to explain to our voters, who are not as stupid as the Democrats think, that in fact Trump has lost the election and that his claims of election fraud are baseless.
All right, so no, they're stupid. No, there's a contingency of Trump supporters that are absolutely fucking dumb. They will continue to claim without evidence that Donald Trump somehow won this election, and they are deeply ignorant by choice. Again, stupid is a choice. They don't want to believe it. They're going to make up conspiracies. They already have. They're ignoring the fact that mail-in ballots have an incredibly low rate of fraud and that they massively broke for Biden because, again, smart people realized they didn't want to be part of the problem when it came to coronavirus and to give that coronavirus to their friends and family. So they decided to opt to vote by mail. Yes, I know. And if you voted for Donald Trump by mail, congratulations. You're not an idiot. You just have very bad politics that I disagree with. Congratulations. But look, my point is, for the people who continue to deny the results of the election, Republican leaders trying to explain it to them, oh, no, you understand, this totally legitimate election, that's not going to work. In fact, what they're going to do is what they do to John, to this guy, John Bolton. Oh, you're a rhino. You're deep state. You're part of this problem. Look, I ain't got no love for John Bolton at all. And so he is a problem. I despise John Bolton. But at the same time, it's like, no, he's one of you. He's a Republican. He ain't nobody's liberal. All right. And so, but again, they're going to call you the worst things that they already have, right? Because you dared go against the baby. And that's who we have in office right now is a baby. And look, again, the Republican Party is the party of Trump. And so having the Republican leadership in Congress come out and say, as well as governors and things like that, come out and say, oh, no, it's true. It's true. Donald Trump did not win the election. It's not going to do anything for them. No, it's going to get the base pissed off at them. And so they're going to sit there and accept the fact that they are the party of Trump. And they're happy with that. They're fine with it because it gets them into the power. It keeps them in power. All right. And so that said, this is why a majority of Republican senators and Congress people have refused to admit the reality, or they have remained silent, that there is no widespread voter fraud. Donald Trump did lose. The recounts will not overturn the election. That's it. That's it. You might get a few hundred votes, maybe a couple thousand votes, switch over to Donald Trump, or get a couple hundred votes thrown out, like in Pennsylvania. But it's not enough to overturn the election. And so what are you doing? It's look, if you had widespread, evidence of widespread voter fraud, well, then shouldn't you have presented in court? It's not like you haven't had a ton of different lawsuits. Oh, but you didn't, because you didn't have any fraud, any evidence of fraud. 9 lawsuits over the weekend were dismissed. 9 gone. Why? No evidence. There's no evidence. Now, here's what Bolton went on to say. I've got another video here. Take a look.
The fact is that we've seen litigation in all the key battleground states, and it has failed consistently. Right now, the Trump campaign is doing the legal equivalent of pitching pennies. Where are their silver dollars? Where is the evidence? I think as every day goes by, it's clearer and clearer there isn't any evidence.
He's right. He's right. And that's why the judges are starting to get pissed off. Let me give you some examples, right? So you've got Nevada U.S. District Judge Andrew Gordon. Here's what he said. At what point does this get ridiculous? He asked before ruling against Republicans trying to overturn the vote there. Michigan Judge Cynthia Stevens questioned attorneys about an affidavit that Republicans had gathered in which a witness said that they were told about mishandling of ballots. Stevens said this, quote, "What I have at best is a hearsay affidavit." That was, of course, originally written on a Post-it note. Quote, "If there's something in that affidavit that would indicate the witness observed activity that would be a deprivation of the rights of the poll watchers, I want you to please focus my attention on that. I heard somebody else say something. Tell me why that's not hearsay." Come on now. Come on now. Come on. More. Pennsylvania. Trump's lawyers have suggested the poll observers had been shut out of the locations where ballots were being counted. That's not true. The lawyers actually acknowledged that there was a quote-unquote non-zero amount of people in the room, and that poll watchers, observers, had been permitted within 15 feet of poll workers. U.S. District Judge Paul Diamond, appointed by George W. Bush, by the way, he said, quote, "I'm sorry, then what's your problem?" Got thrown out again. More. In federal case meant to disqualify cured ballots, Judge Timothy Savage went savage. He questioned the very premise of the Republican attorney's argument, saying, "I don't understand how the integrity of the election was affected," Savage said during the November 4th hearing. One lawyer representing Republican poll challengers in Michigan argued that the coronavirus restrictions meant that they were positioned as far as 20 feet back, to the point where you can't see anything. I can't see anything. I'm too far away. To which Judge Timothy M. Kenney said this, quote, "Where's the facts about that?" He then described the poll watchers' interpretation of events as, quote, "incorrect and not credible." And then, going back to Pennsylvania, you had Judge Richard P. Haas grilling Trump campaign lawyer Jonathan Goldstein at a court hearing last week. He wanted to know the basis for the Trump claims of fraud. He said, I'm asking you a specific question, and I'm looking for a specific answer. Are you claiming that there's any fraud in connection with these 592 disputed ballots?" said Haas. Goldstein replied, quote, "To my knowledge at present, no." Now, there's a reason that he said no, despite the fact that Fox News is constantly talking about voter fraud. We've got the evidence. We've got it right here. We've got here. The Project Veritas. We've got the evidence. We've got the evidence. Massive fraud. Massive fraud. It turns out that if you lie in front of millions of people on television, you don't get punished. But if you lie in front of a judge and you don't provide evidence, well, then you get put in prison. That's why they can never come up with actual evidence in court, despite Fox News, despite conservative media saying, look, we've got the fraud. It's right here. It's right here. We've got video evidence. It's not actual evidence. And so they got nothing. They got nothing. It is all about appeasing the man baby in chief and his dumb cult followers, which, as I've said, they are the Republican Party now. The Republican Party is now the party of Trump, and I'm sorry, but they are irredeemable. There is a section of that party that is absolutely irredeemable, and it is the party of Trump. And John Bolton seems to be having a really hard time trying to come to terms with that. In fact, one more video.
But you haven't seen that from Republican leaders. Very few of them are accepting those results. So what happens? I mean, you can talk about that all you want, but they're not doing it.
Well, I think they're getting ready to do it. I've said I think this is a character test for the Republican Party. I don't buy the argument that Donald Trump has hypnotized Republican voters or that they're not capable of accepting the truth. This is a myth that's being perpetrated that's simply not true. But it requires people to explain what happened. The Trump campaign simply has no evidence. Their basic argument is this was a conspiracy so vast and so successful that there's no evidence of it. Now, if that's true, I really want to know who the people are who pulled this off. We need to hire them at the CIA. The fact is, this is all blue smoke and mirrors, and I think people will accept that if they see leaders they respect explain it to them.
No, they won't. No. Look, you had people come out. It's like this guy does not remember the whole thing about birtherism, about calling Donald Trump calling Barack Obama a basically Kenyan Muslim. Okay, saying that he was not born here. Birtherism. People came out, Republicans came out and said, well, yeah, of course he's born here. And what are you talking about? Of course there's a birth certificate. And still you had Republicans like, nope, I don't believe in the evidence. In fact, the evidence is part of the conspiracy. Just the fact that birth certificate that you're holding in your hand right now is a fake. It's a forgery meant to throw us off. Q's got all the answers. So that's it. That's, again, you're not going to have these conspiracy theorists that are part of the Republican Party. They are not going to respond to logic and reason. They don't. Because, again, I forget what the name of the effect is, but basically boiled down to the most basic explanation of it is that the more you show certain people evidence and facts, the more they will reject those and hold on to their conspiracy theories. So understand that like John Bolton is delusional if he thinks that the Republican Party right now, which is basically made up of conspiracy theorists, cult members, and white nationalists, are going to, suddenly go, right. It turns out Lindsey Graham just told me that Donald Trump did lose the election. So I guess he lost. Sorry. Sorry. No, but he is right in the fact that this is a character test for the Republican Party, and they are going to fail it every single time, because that's, and honestly, it's not because they're stupid, right? It is because you have had decades of media programming from Fox News, conservative media, OANN is fairly new, but people like Glenn Beck, they would, go back and put these basic talk radio with Rush Limbaugh, the media's liberal, they're all lying about everything. We're the only ones that you can trust. Everywhere, blasting your airwaves. People are like, man, CNN, totally liberal. Wow. Yeah, I can't listen to them. I can only listen to Fox News, which is then going to tell me exactly what I want to hear. It is this confirmation bias. And that's what the Republican Party, their media structure is. It's all confirmation bias and conspiracy theories. And they've been doing this again for decades and decades. And there was, and I forget the name of I believe it's, I can't think of his name now, a longtime conservative radio personality, where he comes up and he says, this is going to bite us in the ass one day. Like this alternate reality, this bubble that we have created for our listeners in order to get them to listen to us. Well, now it's going to backfire us at some point. And he said this like back in 2015, 2016, right after Donald Trump had gotten elected. And I'm sorry that I can't remember the name. Definitely not Rush Limbaugh. No, not Joe Walsh either. Again, it's a conservative podcaster, radio host, Charlie something, but not obviously not Charlie Kirk. I cannot think of his name. But that's unimportant right now. What's important is his message, and the fact that he basically knew the problem. No, not Don Imus or Ted Koppel. Charlie Sykes, Tampa Dan, thank you. Chat to the rescue. Charlie Sykes. He said, yeah, this is going to destroy us. This alternate reality that we spun around our movement, making sure that nobody trusts facts anymore. And so That sticks to me. I mean, it sticks with me. Okay. And I've been thinking about this every time I think about the conservative media ecosphere and what people hear and what people are seeing on a day-to-day basis. And when I critique conservative media, this is what I think of. This alternate reality where no facts and reality will not penetrate. And so what do you do with that? And understand that this is the end result of this corporate, right-wing media ecosystem. And it's the character of the Republican Party. And as far as the Republican politics are concerned, again, Donald Trump is not an aberration. He is the logical conclusion to conservative ideology. Vapid, narcissistic, sociopathic, money-grubbing, failson. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.